idea you need a weapon that can have the ability to fire 20, 30, 40, 50, 120 shots from that weapon, whether it's a 9mm pistol or whether it's a rifle, is ridiculous. I'm continuing to push to eliminate the sale of those things.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Death by Tyranny podcast. And today I wanted to come on here. I told you if I was unable to work due to COVID restrictions that are bullshit, then I would try to make a podcast every day. That way the people who are working have something that might be able to make their day go by a little faster. So it's a very sad time in America these last couple of days, and we see Joe Biden not be a leader at all. In fact, I'm sure he knew what was going to happen in the last couple of days, but yet somehow he managed to plan a vacation at the same time. So he also said that there wouldn't be a Taliban takeover after we left Afghanistan, and it took 24 hours, and we began to see the Taliban overrun Afghanistan. Now, there are some things that I wanted to talk about tonight, but we're just going to totally disregard them, and I've already took some Tylenol PMs because my arm was hurting a little bit where I had surgery, and it's late at night when I do these. And quite frankly, I was a little irritated, and I didn't want to get on here too heated and say something I might regret later. I did have a buddy say that he liked the podcast, but I might want to chill it out a little bit before I get banned, before I'm even able to really have a following to even listen to what I have to say. Now, in all honesty, I really try to hold back quite a bit. I've never really went off on a rant and said something that could get me in too much trouble. That might happen today. I did not serve in the military, so I cannot speak on whether or not we should still be over in Afghanistan or not, and that's not what I'm going to talk about. What I will talk about is the lack of leadership of Joe Biden. He, of course, came out and reminded everybody that the decision to leave Afghanistan was one that was made by Trump, which is true. That is a true statement. But you have to understand, when Trump was in office, we had less and less troops over there. We had more peace than we've seen in a long time over in that region. And quite frankly, I don't believe Trump would have just yanked all our military support out of Afghanistan in one day and left civilians over there to die pretty much at this point. They also didn't have a very good exit strategy at all. They've already lost pretty much control of their air base, our airport there, the main one. I'm sure a lot of you have seen the footage of Afghans hanging on to the wings of the planes, trying to get out of Afghanistan. Now that should tell you just how wrong Joe Biden was. He said that we wouldn't see people, holding bodies on top of buildings like other military mistakes we've seen in the past, but and it's not funny. But if you noticed, not only did it get very dramatic and very horrific very fast, but not a lot, all of those people hanging on to that plane and that were in that plane were males. And that's because the Taliban has such a tight hold already that females and young women you would think would be the first to be evacuated out of somewhere like that. That wasn't the case. Young men and people that were in the military, for the Afghan military, and just older male civilians of Afghanistan, they ran. And that should tell you how terrifying the Taliban is to the population of Afghanistan. Now, the really scary part about this is, and what Joe Biden didn't say is our agreement to leave Afghanistan was that it was an agreement that Trump made. And there were stipulations that were supposed to be upheld, and they were not. So to say that Trump would have pulled our troops out in May, and this would have inevitably happened, is false. Trump probably wouldn't even have pulled out of Afghanistan yet, because the Taliban was not keeping up with their promise. So that was a very dishonest thing to say. It was something he used to shift blame away from himself and onto another party. And I think this is going to go a lot deeper than what a lot of people think. I think it is something a lot of people see on the news as just this horrible story, but we had to get out of Afghanistan and now it's over, so be it. That just isn't the case. Not only will we inevitably send more troops in there because there's still American citizens over there, there are a lot of Afghans over there that helped our military, and a lot of them have already been killed by the Taliban, going door to door and killing these people. And understand that the Taliban is wicked. They are an evil that we probably will rarely ever see again in our lifetime, if ever, in person. So understand that. When they come door to door looking for you, they're not just there to shoot you and move on. They probably do horrible things to these people's families. They are disgusting human beings. The spokesperson for the Taliban came out a couple years ago and would not even admit that Al-Qaeda was involved in 9/11. He said that they didn't know who was responsible for 9/11. And so if they do work with the Al-Qaeda, they can't say that they were helping terrorists because they don't know who committed 9/11. Well, Al-Qaeda came out and took responsibility for 9/11. That is a huge reason why we were over there in Afghanistan to begin with. You don't spend billions and billions of dollars looking for somebody with the best military on the planet and not find out who's responsible for it. And unfortunately, the best thing we could do for defense for terrorism on our soil is to have a good offense over there. And we don't have that anymore. And the really scary part about this is what gave our military an edge is our high-tech military equipment and the training. Well, the Taliban's been around for a long time. And they don't just sit around and fuck goats all day, okay? They train too. They are diverse in military tactics. They have been studying our troops over there for a very long time. They are not stupid. They released thousands of members of terrorist organizations to join their ranks just over the last couple of days. Even Wikipedia is trying to shift some of the blame on to Trump. A couple of days ago, if you would have checked Wikipedia to see the size of Al-Qaeda, or not Al-Qaeda, but the Taliban, it said 200,000 members, which is probably a low estimate. We don't know how many members is in the Taliban. We don't know how many members cross over from the Taliban and Al-Qaeda and ISIS. They are probably all one unit. for the most part. I'm sure there is some negotiation that happens in between the two. But Wikipedia said that count was at 200,000 in 2017, shortly after Trump was elected. Well, they just recently moved that the year from 2017 to 2019, which would lead you to believe that they didn't get to those numbers until Trump was in office. And that is inaccurate. Biden saying that he had to do what he did over the last couple of days because Trump made that deal prior to him being in office, and so it is Trump's fault. That's a lie too. Like I said, Trump probably wouldn't have pulled out of Afghanistan because the Taliban weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. They were actually doing the complete opposite. And I'm sure one of those things is working with Al-Qaeda. So then Biden tries to negotiate with them. And you can't really negotiate with a terrorist organization when you're fleeing a country and showing no power. And Joe Biden already looks weak to the world. So I don't think the Taliban was taking Biden very seriously. And obviously we can see that because they just ransacked the place as soon as we left. So he told a lot of lies during a very weak and unstable, non-leader speech that he gave, and then probably went right back to his vacation. So, like I said, the more I get into it, the worse it is. Really, it is. Not only do you have the Taliban that has complete control over a country that will probably be a safe haven and harbor for terrorists. They're not going to be hiding in the mountains anymore getting hunted. They're going to be out in the open, able to make money, able to recruit. But then we also left them billions of dollars of military equipment. How that was not one of the first things, if we weren't going to take it with us, why didn't we blow that stuff up? Why didn't we set that stuff on fire before we left? And even at right now, that it's still an option. I'm sure they've gathered up quite a bit of it, but it is still an option. And I'm not just talking about M4s and, AR-15s and military small arms. I'm talking about drones and armored tanks and Humvees. Hell, there's even aircrafts over there they have now. They don't need to hijack a plane. We just handed them over to them. Joe Biden has possibly done one of the stupidest things that a politician has ever done. And somehow the mainstream media is still showing him support. I have heard nothing but bad things from people that served in the military and that are still in the military. They are saying people should be fired for this. People should be going to jail for how this went down. I mean, it was a total disaster, and it is still going on, and it's still yet to be seen what they're going to do with those billions of dollars worth of weapons. Our night vision capabilities were already falling behind other countries like China and Russia. Well, now the Taliban and Al-Qaeda and ISIS, they have those night vision equipment. They're going to take them apart. They're going to figure it out. And they're going to have that technology. And they might not even have to do that because there was so much of it. So much military armory was left over there for them to just have a heyday. I don't think you understand. The next thing I will be doing for this podcast is figuring out how to screen share so I can show you these pictures. Because that they have things that just the small arms alone that I could never afford financially. I couldn't. We're in a lot of trouble now. Now it's not when is the next terror, or it's not if there will be another terrorist attack. It is going to be by when is the next terrorist attack, and by who will commit that terrorist attack. And I'm sure the Taliban will have a huge hand in that. Joe Biden pretty much ensured that we will have another terrorist attack on U.S. soil. So when that happens, remember this day. Again, yet another thing you need to remember about Joe Biden and why you made the biggest mistake of your life voting for him. And all the Democrats are the same. The one thing that differs from Joe Biden from the other Democrats, though, is something that I was saying before the election. You were even able to vote. That I couldn't believe that Joe Biden won the Democratic primary for his party because he has the worst international. I don't think Joe Biden has ever been on a winning decision side of a foreign policy ever in his life. Not once. And a lot of people like to brag that he's been in office and a politician for 47 years. That's not a good track record. To have 0 good foreign policy votes. He has never voted for the right thing to do when it comes to foreign policy. That is probably his weakest area as a politician. Not to mention he's a racist piece of shit and hoodwinked the fuck out of a lot of minorities that don't pay attention at all. But that's another story for another day. And now you just had him pull out of a 20-year war and it just crumbled into pieces and empowered one of our greatest enemies that we have at the moment that are currently seeking to physically harm us, great powers. Not to mention, if China wants to take Taiwan, now's the time to do it. America, well, not America, but Joe Biden boosted a lot of evil people's morals over the last couple of days. The Chinese Communist Party put out I believe it was on Twitter, America's not going to help Thailand. That was pretty much them saying, yeah, we're going to take it, and you're not going to do nothing about it. You don't have offensive military in Taiwan or Thailand to fight us off. And even if you did, you just fought people in caves for 20 years and they ran you off. That's what it looks like. And you gave them billions of dollars worth of military equipment. Is that Joe Biden's plan to fight China when they try to take over countries? Give them billions of dollars worth of military equipment and then run? What a fucking coward. Yeah, everybody who voted for Joe Biden should take a real hard look in the mirror today and say, damn, I fucked up. All you humanitarians, all the ones trying to say we need to take in all these refugees from Afghanistan, you know why we have to do that? Because you voted for Joe Biden. There were plenty of good people getting the good ones out of Afghanistan and bringing them over here already. Now we have zero time to vet any of these people, and they're talking about 30,000 Afghan refugees coming over. You don't think terrorists are going to make it through that? They were making it through military special intelligence agencies over in Afghanistan, working with them for a year, and then betraying them. You don't think that they're going to get through some of these refugee passages and make it to America? They don't even... What? They might not. They don't even need to, because they got fucking drones. This was a slap in the face of every veteran, every American citizen. This proved beyond a shadow of a doubt how incompetent and cowardly Joe Biden is. And it really shows how ignorant the people that follow this stupid motherfucker is. Fuck COVID. Fuck the mask. Fuck the vaccine. Fuck the mandates. That shit needs to be put on the fucking back burners right now. The border should have been a priority over that. Well, we're definitely going to have terrorists coming through the southern border now. So we're worried about whether or not we're going to be forced to wear a piece of fucking fabric on our face, when we should be worried about having a wide open southern border to our country and handing over billions of dollars worth of military equipment to the biggest terrorist organization in the world. What the fuck are we going to do about those two things? Fuck COVID. It's time to move on. Joe Biden clearly cannot handle that, and the only way he can get anything done is by force, by breaking the Constitution. The only way these governors are getting mask and vaccine mandates is by going around the Constitution. And if you hold out long enough, you won't have to fight it, because if this shit goes to the Supreme Court, they're going to lose. They're just flexing their power and trying to hold on to it as long as they can. And in the meanwhile, they're fucking up every aspect of our country. Our economy, shot. Southern border, shot. Foreign policy, shot. Terrorists that have attacked us on home soil, empowered. I don't even want to jinx to say that I don't think Joe Biden can fuck anything up worse than he already has. Knock on wood. Because he has proven us wrong time and time again. I don't even... and the speech he gave was just full of lies. It was, you know, of course he ended it with, the buck stops here. I'm the president. But before I say that, let me list 25 other people that it's their fault instead of mine. What a fucking coward. It's unbelievable. And like I said, if you're still supporting this asshole, just stop voting. Stop. Because you clearly do not know what a politician is supposed to do. Because as soon as he started talking about foreign policy, everybody should have said, no, don't do it, Joe. 0 for how many things did he vote on for foreign policy that he fucked up? Unbelievable. And you know what? We're not even going to go and dismiss all the lies. There's plenty of conservatives that are going to do that. We're going to talk about something that other people are afraid to talk about. Prepare yourself mentally. And if you're religious, pray that you are not in that place. Because there will be another 9/11. Might not be on 9/11, but it's coming. You don't hand over billions of dollars worth of military equipment to the most radical organization in the world that is going door to door and chopping off little girls' heads. And the whole time we're leaving chanting death to America. You don't think they're coming for us? No, it is terrifying to know that they are going to try. Hopefully, they can't get nothing pulled together until there's another fucking president in office that could actually maybe stop it before it happens, because Joe Biden sure in the fuck won't. What a garbage fucking piece of shit. And I don't want to hear no anti-gunner. None of them. None of the fucking organizations. None of you piece of shit governors. Don't you dare tell me a fucking thing about gun control. You just handed over armored tanks to fucking terrorists. And you want to talk to me about a goddamn trigger? Get the fuck out of here. You're a fucking piece of shit. All these anti-gun politicians, they're not looking out for you at all. Not one bit. And if you didn't know that, and you just might happen to have a half-breed trigger laying around that you bought, that you could legally buy for up to a couple of years now, I think they said on the low end there's like 50,000 of them out. Yeah, the ATF just made those illegal last night. You didn't see that on the fucking mainstream news, did you? Well, guess what? You're a fucking felon now. Where'd you have to find that information out at? Have you ever even heard about it yet? So the ATF is in the middle of the night, yet again, changing rules, declaring fucking things that aren't even guns, machine guns, and making law-abiding citizens felons while they're giving fucking drones to terrorists. You're out of your goddamn mind. If I don't get one more view other than somebody, please get this video to Joe Biden, or at least John Psaki, whatever the fuck her name is. Fuck you, you stupid bitch. Fuck Joe Biden. Fuck all you anti-gunners. You are pro-terrorist supporting pieces of shit. And if you voted for him, you're just as much of a fucking piece of shit. Talk to me about gun control. Get the fuck out of here. That's all I got for tonight, guys. I'm going to get off here before I start really fucking going off on them. I love you guys. Stay safe. Go buy your guns while you can, because pretty soon the fucking Taliban will be over here, and believe you me, they got better shit than we're allowed to have. Peace, y'all.